Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing this movie called Swallow, which was suggested by one of my commenters right here. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but this was a suggestion from one of the comments, and I'm going to do reviews based on what you guys say. So if it's a streaming movie, if it's a new release, if it's, some old movie like Speed Racer or Terrifier, I got suggestions for that. So those are probably going to be my next two reviews after maybe a new release on Netflix on Friday, or maybe even Parasite, because I know Parasite just came out on Hulu, and I'm really excited to see that movie again. I might finally do a review on it. So let's just get right into the review for Swallow. So this movie I heard had great reviews. I read the logline premise on IMDb, and that is it. I didn't really know much about this movie going in, especially because I read what this movie was about when I got that comment, and like a week and a half later I finally watched the movie, and by that point I forgot what the movie was really about. But I just bought a $7 rental on iTunes, and I just jumped right into it. And this movie is fantastic. It is great. I loved this movie, and it was so much more than I thought it was going to be. After the first 30 minutes, I was like, okay. The basic premise of this movie is there are two main leads. It's about a married couple who are kind of in an emotionally abusive relationship. This woman it's kind of like The Invisible Man, that relationship, just minus the more physical aspects from The Invisible Man, and it's all mental and psychological in this movie. And she feels trapped. She feels like she has no more control in her life, and in order to take back control, she takes these small objects around the house and she swallows them. Now, as you can imagine, taking random small objects around a house and swallowing them can't be good for you, and it causes a lot of problems, whether it's with her relationship or with people around her, or how people perceive her mental states, because this entire movie you're trying to figure out where her mind is at and why she's doing the things she's doing. And as you learn about that, her character becomes much more intriguing. And I love that aspect of this movie. And it also kind of reminded me of this movie called Raw, but instead of eating people, it's eating small objects around the house, which could also be very, very dangerous, especially when you pick up a thumbtack off your desk and you swallow it. That is just no, don't do that. That's bad, very, very bad. And some of the things she eats is just, my gosh, why are you doing these things that you're doing? But then you kind of dig deeper into it, and like I said, the character development and all that is fantastic. The main actress is Haley Bennett, and she does just such a great job in this role. And she was in The Magnificent Seven, the Anton Fuqua Magnificent Seven movie that came out 2016, 2017. And she was great in that movie. She was a standout in that movie. And I loved seeing her in this film because this is the only other film I've seen her in. And she's very different in this movie. And she really just has a strong and empowering performance, and that's easily the best part of this movie because she's in every frame of this movie. You can't escape her performance, and it is so good that this is probably one of the best performances so far this year. I loved her in this movie. This movie also stars my long distance, maybe third or fifth or 10th cousin, Austin Stowell, and he plays the biggest douche in the world. I hated him. I do this in movies often where I flip off the characters on screen when they're on screen if I really hate them. And that's a testament to, I didn't hate his performance. I just hated his character because he played it so well. He is a fantastic actor, and what he does in this movie is great. I do think he has a couple of turns that are a little bit harsh, but in terms of the story, I guess there are a couple moments where it's like, okay, would you be that harsh? But I guess we haven't gotten to know him as well as we've gotten to know Haley Bennett's character, so I guess, he can be that much of a dick. But I don't know. Just some of the turns that he does is a little bit harsh, but that's kind of baked into this story to begin with, so I accepted it. But besides that, that's really my only complaint, is sometimes there are some turns of characters against our main actress, and you really want her to get better, and you want her to get help, and these people around her are trying to help her, and they want her to get better, but what is the right thing? And is she like, yeah, she's eating these terrible things, but do you kind of want her to at a point, because she's breaking free. She has control in only one thing in her life, and this is the only thing she has control in. And there's some moments in this movie where she's eating things. So this movie is labeled as a drama, thriller, horror on IMDb, and I would lump in comedy in this as well, because I think this movie is mostly a drama. But there are some comedic elements and some thriller elements and some horror elements throughout this movie that work very well. And I think the comedy really hits, especially during one montage early on in the movie that was so funny. I would liken this movie to an episode of My Strange Addiction, but if it were written and directed in a serious manner, where the director kind of really honed in on these thematic elements that really, really hit in this movie. And this is where I absolutely do not want to get into spoilers, because this movie goes in directions that I was not expecting. It really has a thematic message and a really big, empowering punch that this movie really goes for. And it's subtle and it works so well. And it's testament to the writing directly, mostly because this is a really really well written movie and a very, very well directed movie. This director has a bright future ahead of him, and this was a beautifully shot movie as well. The cinematographer does a great job constructing each shot and the color correction and everything about the look of this movie. I really, really enjoyed, even though sometimes you don't want to look at it because of what's happening on screen. You just can't help but think it's a beautifully shot and beautifully directed and written movie that has that weird twist to it, like a My Strange Addiction, because it really is. That's really the only thing I can compare it to, because there's really nothing else like it. Maybe like a combination between Raw and My Strange Addiction with 2 or 10 excellent performances. Really just the one from Haley Bennett who just blew me away. I loved this movie a lot more than I thought it was. It was definitely worth the $7 rental that I did on iTunes. Go check this movie out, guys, if you have any interest in it. If you have if you can't watch things that are too, it's not too gross. I don't think. It just kind of makes you cringe and look away at times because it's just really, my gosh, why is she doing the things that she's doing? But the reasons are fascinating and the ending is great. I wish it honestly went on for maybe 10 or 15 more minutes. It's a very short movie. It flew by. It's only like an hour and 35 minutes, but it went by in like 5 seconds to me. It flew by. So that'll be it for my review for Swallow. Comment below if you guys have seen this movie. Let me know what you guys thought. I would be very curious to see. And if you have any more suggestions, comment below of what you guys want me to review on this channel. I am open up to anything really. So thanks guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Comments, like, subscribe, do all the things. I'm rambling on now. See you guys in the next one.